You are listening to the Wave Live interview with Sofree-Wisdom. You can hear the Wave live on Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Yes Sir FM, one of the original member stations of the Get Global Network.
It's raining on me. Don't move. I'd rather sit here with no sympathy from anyone. I got myself here, and it's here to stay. I didn't have the courage to stay working out, so it's here in this hell I lay. Oh, I wish that I could go back to the day that I gave my soul away and I gave up my faith. Oh, well, it's too late. Here in this hell, I'll stay. I should have turned around. I should have turned around and tried again. So now in this hell I stay.
Hey, it's K. Rose, Program Director for So Metro Radio and Yes Sir FM, and you are listening to the Wave Live interview with Sofree-Wisdom out of North Carolina. And for those of you who know me, Program Director for both stations, you know that I am constantly in search of new artists. I'm always listening to music, and I came across the music, first of all, from Sofree here within the last year. Contacted her on Facebook because I really liked her music. I also found that she was doing a radio show, which I also listened to a few of those, and I was intrigued. I reached out to her, and this is the first chance that we've had to actually get Sofree on for an interview. And I'm as excited as anybody else is because I really, really, really like what she has been doing. And so without further ado, we have Sofree-Wisdom on with us.
Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for all your kind words.
Yeah, I know the check is in the mail, so I'm good with that. But no, I say it out of really from my heart because I listen to so many artists weekly, and I really find that there are a lot of people who they're talented enough to sing, but they are not really entertainers. They're not people that have a presence about them. And I feel that as what I've seen from you and what I've heard from you, regardless of what direction you end up going in or where you will arrive here in the next few years, because I can see you getting to the level I think that you want to be. I just think that you have that it factor. And I'm like I said, I'm impressed by it and I like it. I like what you're doing. I'm going to make sure that I'm promoting you as much as I can. And I can say that because, again, I have no financial responsibilities to Sofree-Wisdom, making sure everyone knows that. She didn't pay me for those good comments. I'm just being real because I like to say what I feel. And I think you're that type person, too.
Thank you. Yes, I am. I appreciate it. You got me over here. My eyes are getting watery.
Oh, now we're not going to have that. Now, and I follow you on Facebook, so I know you can, you have your moments. You are a good follow on Facebook. Okay.
Thank you.
There are a lot of people that are out there taking pictures of their plates and things, and I'm like, you need to get off Facebook. But you're a good follow. So let's start off let's tell everyone how they can interact with you on social media.
Well, you guys can follow me on Facebook at facebook.com/sofree-wisdom business. And then my fan page is facebook.com/sofree-wisdom. I'm at sofree-wisdom.com. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at sofree-wisdom. You know, I pretty much reply to everybody, you know, unless they're inappropriate. So, you know, I don't bite. You guys can hit me up and follow me, and I can give you a good time.
Okay. And I appreciate that. And I really, just starting off, as I think about it, where does your AKA come from? Where does So Free Wisdom come from?
Well, my birth name actually means wisdom, so that's where I got that. And I also have a tattoo on my neck that says wisdom. And then So Free, before I actually started making my own music in 2010, I was speaking to a friend from high school. His name is Clay. Shout out to Clay. I love telling this story. And I said, you know, when I become a singer, I want to have, you know, an awesome stage name. You know, I want some pizzazz. And he was like, you know what? I'm going to call you in the morning, and I'm going to have your name. And he called me the very next morning. He said, So Free. And it was self-explanatory, and I always thank him to this day for that. But that's where I got it from, and it describes me perfectly.
And so when you say it describes you perfectly, what does that mean? Are you just a free spirit? Do you feel that you have a wise spirit? How does it describe you perfectly?
I do feel, well, people have always told me when I was young I've been wise beyond my years for a long time, but when I think of being so free, I feel, you know, I feel comfortable in my skin. I'm comfortable enough, you know, with the universe that if I put whatever I put out into it, I know that's what I'm going to get back. So if I speak the truth, I should get the truth back. And, you know, I just feel like I don't have to fake who I am. And I feel like that's the most free anybody can be, when you can be yourself and people receive it well. So that's what I think of.
And as you look at it, I love that answer. And that's why I really like your name. I think I was drawn to it because I think your definition that you just gave to us describes how I felt, you know, as I listened to your music, as I looked at you, what you do on Facebook. You're not out there trying to be something imaginary or to create an illusion. Just my personal opinion again. You just put it out there for what it is, and you may blaze someone on Facebook, and you may say some hot, spicy opinions, like I said, but they're yours, and you're not going to, you know, do a political thing where you come back and have your people come through and say, well, actually, So Free meant this when she said that.
Right.
You know, that's the way that you should be. And that's, to me, that's the way all artists need to be. And so you mentioned basically being a young person in your life. And it sounds like you have been being an entertainer or being an artist may have been something that was with you for quite some time. What's the earliest memory that you have of performing in front of an audience? And that can be any kind of audience. It could be family, you know, at the little, you know, home cooking party barbecue shows, or friends at school, or talent shows. What's that first memory you really have of performing and knowing that you liked it and it gave you a little buzz?
When I was in 5th grade, the school offered a choir class, and you could come to school like an hour early and practice, and then we would put on shows. And we had a Christmas show, and the teacher had tryouts for a solo. And singing was always natural to me, but I never looked at it like, oh, wow, I could be a singer. So I tried out for the solo because I thought it would be fun, and I got it. And the entire class, they backed me up on this song called Rocking Down the Chimney Tonight. And we performed it at the mall where I live in Cary, and it was just, it was such an amazing experience. They got a band for us, and that's when I was like, okay, I'm going to be a singer forever. And then I started writing poetry when I was 8, and, you know, sometimes I just would start singing my poetry, and it clicked, like, I can write songs. And so I was always in choir. Even in my adult life, I was in choir, and then I started making my own music in 2010 as sofree-wisdom. So and I'm still going. So,
So you are the writer for all of, if not most of, your songs, right?
yes, absolutely. I have one or two songs that may be on my project that I had helped other people helped me write, but I do write the majority of my music. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you said they had a band at a Christmas performance at a mall?
Yep, in elementary school. I have it on video. I always say I need to find a place where I can put all these things on DVD because that was a great experience. That was my first big deal when I realized I really could sing. So,
man, you must have had a lovely school if they were hiring a band to come out.
Oh no, it wasn't. No, the school didn't hire it. I believe the music teacher, her brother was the drummer, or something like that. And they just
that's
came
cool.
out. Yeah, it was hookup. They had the hookup. It wasn't anything like that. But yeah, it was really nice.
Well, but still, hey, they felt enough of their students that the teacher did to have a band come out. Hey, back in my area, both of my sons sing. They've been in choir really for a long time, and they may have an accompanist, a piano player. As for some of us in the hood, it's a piano player, people. That's what accompanist is. But but I've never seen them have a band come out to any of their performances at malls or things like that. And so I've as I've mentioned, I follow you on Facebook. I see that you perform. You've performed and are still performing at different venues. And did you have a performance that is coming up, or was that here in the last few days?
I did. I have two actually. I have one next Wednesday. It's a ladies showcase. My friend that works at the number one hip hop and R&B radio station here in my city, she is throwing a ladies showcase, and that should be great. And then I'm actually opening up for women's empowerment next Saturday, and that's a really big event every single year. Jasmine Solomon's going to be there, Jaheim's going to be there, Monica, Teddy Riley. The keynote speaker is Viola Davis, and so I'm really excited. I've been wanting to do that for like 10 years before I was even sofree-wisdom, so that performance really means a lot to me. It's my first arena too, so.
Wow. And tell everybody exactly where that's going to be, because we're promoting it. We're telling everybody about it.
Thank you. It's at the PNC Arena in Raleigh, North Carolina, and it's Saturday, April 16th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m., and I'm going to open up the entire show. So. Great.
And again, this will be available via podcast. It's going to be aired coming up this coming Wednesday on the live interview. So we'll have plenty of time to promote this and tell everyone to get there. And anybody that's listening to this via podcast or on Wednesday night, if you've got something where you can shoot the video, tag So Metro Radio on Twitter, or tag Yes Sir FM, YESSURR FM, tag us so we can tell the world about Sofree's performance before she had a chance to stop y'all from putting the video out. Okay.
I welcome all footage.
And so as you go through and it sounds like you've been performing for several years. How long have you been performing in front of audiences?
If you count choir, since I was in elementary school, I started doing my own singing. I don't know. I'm going to have to say since I was in elementary school, because I always did little karaoke things growing up. Like I said, I was in choir in middle school, elementary school, high school, college, and in my adult life. And then as I got older, I started doing open mics and singing, little local singing competitions around here. So I've always been performing.
Okay. And so when you look back at all those performances, what was the most memorable performance, and what made it memorable?
Actually, when I had my very first showcase, this was my first year being sofree-wisdom in 2010, and it was my very first showcase, my first time really performing my own music in front of people. And everybody that I grew up with showed up. It was my friends, some family was there, and they were singing my music. This was my first real sofree-wisdom appearance, and they were singing the words to my songs, and you know, I have the footage of it, and that's my most memorable performance to this day.
You got all this footage. We need a DVD of the So Free DVD series or something.
It's in the works. You're on to me.
Okay, that's good. And that's another thing that artists in this day and time have the advantage of. If you took the time, or if someone even had a cell phone, because people have been using cell phones to record for the last 7-8 years, I guess. Mm-hmm. You can go back in time and you can take a little snapshot of what you were doing then, and that's a beautiful thing to be able to do. A lot of artists had to depend on somebody getting it to them from a major level when they were fortunate enough to have real, video done at that time.
Right.
But it is really great for artists now to be able to take advantage of that. I hope all artists that are out there are listening, and make sure. Even a lot of people have this attitude about the cell phone. Hey, I don't want to use a cell phone. It don't look good. Well, if that's all you have, it looks great.
Right. So, I mean, these new cell phones are really good. I have the Galaxy Note 5, and I like to go to shows that I'm not performing in, so I can support my friends. Mm-hmm. And I always get footage, and whenever I post it, they'll make jokes about hiring me. That some of these phones have HD cameras and stuff, and you can get some really good footage from a cell phone these days.
I have the exact same phone, and I agree with you 100%.
The camera is a bomb.
I mean, it's the lens, all that works. And I was told by a photographer, hey, if you got your lighting right, or if you're in the right spot, hey, those phones, just like you mentioned, hey, they can make you look like a professional photographer. Exactly.
Yeah. And when I went to buy the phone, that's what I asked. I said, I need to be able to hear my music clearly and take really good selfies and pictures.
Hey.
And that was the phone they pointed out.
Hey, and it's like I said, I love the phone. It works great. And we need to get some money, So Free. We need to talk to Samsung and get some
they need to hook us up right now. We need our percentage.
at a minimum, pay our phone bill for the next year or so. So. I'm not just saying that either. I'm okay.
Right, I'll take it too.
I will definitely take it. So as you're going through, you had mentioned that you're married. I believe you have some little people, as I call them, in your life. Who inspires you to continue to work toward building your career in this industry? Because it's an ugly industry sometimes. So who inspires you to continue?
I'd say number one, definitely my husband. He has been with me. Well, we met a year after I started making music, so we were both kind of fresh into the actual music scene. We were on the same label together, independent label. And so he saw a lot of the struggles I went through and just how hard I wanted this. And, there were times when I wanted to give up and I was insecure, and he has always been the one to say, you're amazing. Your gift is not just for you. You got to get out there. You got to keep pushing. So I definitely say him, and especially my kids. My kids know all the words to, my song, my child appropriate songs. And, they love seeing me with the microphone, and my daughter has seen me perform a couple times, and, when I look at them, the way their eyes are just beaming up looking at me, that inspires me so much. And, I have people that'll just message me on Facebook and just want to tell me about their life and tell me their problems. I guess, just a lot. It's great.
No, and it really is. A lot of people don't realize that when anyone can do something that you love and you have the opportunity to make it a career or to make money from it, that's a special, special thing.
Yeah, it is.
And go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I also wanted to say what inspires me is I've gone through a lot of things in my life. A lot of good things, but some really hard, rough things that I decided to put into some of my music. And because of bearing myself like that, I've had so many people come to me and tell me my song helped them through this, or I can't believe you know what I'm going through because you're married and you're happy and everything. And it's just just putting it out there and letting people know, like, it doesn't matter what you're going through. You can get through it. You can push through it. And the type of things people say to me and how they thank me and appreciate me and cried, at my performances, that's so inspiring. It lets me know that it's bigger than me,
And I see, as I mentioned, I'm not stalking you, but I'm looking at Facebook all the time. And if I find someone on Facebook that has, as I consider to be wisdom, on things, and they make posts that are logical and they're not just posts that are just crazy, and they really have something to say, I tend to, skip by their page and read them. And I see exactly what you just mentioned in a lot of your posts. You're out there interacting with people, talking about friendships that you have and your life in general. And people need to see that artists are real people. They need to understand that. And as artists, I want the artists that are listening, you need to act like real people. Exactly. And don't be such a butt. I'm being nice. I'm trying to be nice today.
Me too.
Yeah. So, but just go out there and when you love doing something, enjoy doing it, be honest about what you're doing. And then you're going to have people that follow you that will read your tweets and your Facebook posts, just like I do with SoFree. And as I look at it, and I'm seeing how you look at this industry, what are you going to consider to be success for yourself in the industry? When are you going to look back and say, wow, I'm successful in this industry? And it can be any level, but where are you going to be when you consider yourself to be a success in the music business?
I believe when I'm on stage, either performing or accepting any type of Grammy. I believe that's really how I've measured my career for a long time. And I know a lot of people don't look at awards like that, but I just feel like I have a lot of childhood dreams, and a lot of them, they come true if I just put my faith into it. So that's really when I think I'll look back and be like, okay, the speech that I've been preparing since I was 5, like, I'm here now.
Since you were 5, okay.
Yes.
Did it start off with the first draft in crayon or in color pencil? Or?
That was just me holding a brush and, talking into the mirror in the bathroom.
Thanking everyone for giving you the awards. Okay, I'm good
exactly.
with that. Okay, as we get ready to come up and take a break, introduce your song as we go into break.
Okay, this song is called The Only One. This is my current single. It's, getting radio play in a few different areas, and it's produced by my husband, Trackstar Rich. So I hope you love it.
Can you tell me I'm the only one? Tell me I'm the only one.
Got my guard up, it's time. I'm not in no rush. When I say go, please stay. Want you to fight for me all the way. It's not your fault that I'm this way. But do I mean enough for you to not give up? Tell me I'm the only one. Show me that it's okay to give in. Tell me I'm the only one. Show me that you'll be here till the end. Tell me I'm the only one. Think it's cool to have a main and a side and a wife. Oh no. Let me make it myself real clear. I'm the only one you need in your life. I'ma give you all of me. Wanna have all of you. I don't wanna share with the world, and I know what I deserve as your girl. Tell me I'm the only one. Show me that it's okay to give in. Tell me I'm the only one.
Hey, it's K Rose, Program Director for Soul Metro Radio and Yes Sir FM, and you are listening to the Wave Live interview with sofree-wisdom. Coming back after playing her new single, and tell everybody again what the new single is, and tell them, if you could, just how you came up with the concept for the single.
All right. My single's called The Only One, and I came up with it because my husband and I, when he made the beat, we're really silly, and a lot of times we'll just press record on the mic and just play around. And we actually were just playing around with that song, singing back and forth to each other, and I really fell in love with the melody, even though I was just pretending. And so I kept some of the things from, us playing around, and then a lot of times when I hear a beat, I try to sing about what it makes me feel like, and the beat made me feel like, somebody wants to fall in love, but they're just scared, and so I just wrote about that.
And is he the only one that, that's where that came from also?
Yes,
that's what I thought.
He's the only one. I was definitely terrified to settle down and really give my all to somebody when I met him. So yeah, definitely about my honey bun.
and that's beautiful. I've been with my lovely wife for, and I'm not ashamed to say it, for 30 years. I'm not old, but I'm pretty good. I'm middle aged. I'm in my 50s, early 50s. Don't nobody go bad on me.
No, those are my relationship goals. I respect that so much. 30 years. Woo.
Yeah, and you look at it as a young person when I was young, and to look at people that had been married 50 years, I was like, man, how did y'all do that? And but I look at it, and I can hear the relationship that you have with your husband in your voice, and so I can see you getting, you'll be a veteran like myself.
Yay!
I can see that, and you both share something also as far as occupation and careers. You share the love of music, and I'm sure that's being passed down to your lovely person. Your little person. And so as you go through, and there are so many female artists that are out there, and they're trying to put this industry in perspective, and they love it, and they have, whether they're single or they're married or they have spouses or they have boyfriends, it's just hard to be in this business, period, and have a relationship. But right. What do you think female artists need to do to succeed in the music industry?
As far as having a relationship, or just period?
Just period. What do you think they need to do to be a success, or to succeed, not even be a success?
Well, I guess that just depends on each artist, what their definition of success is. You have some that just really want to be famous. You have some that want to put messages in their music, like myself. You have some that, just want the money and the fame. And so I guess that'll definitely be a factor, what they consider to be successful. But for me and what I'm doing, I'm just staying true to who I am. If I mess up, I can admit to it. I get back up and I try again. And, I was just watching Black Girls Rock the other night. I don't know if you've seen that.
I haven't seen the current, not the current one.
Yeah, well, Gladys Knight was on there, and they had interviewed her because she received an award. And she said, I could have slept with people to get higher in my career. I could have done this. I could have done that. But if you stay true to yourself, you will make it 64 years in the business like me. And when she said that, I just got chills, because a lot of times I would, struggle with trying to make people happy, trying to do what's on the radio, trying to make things that appeal to a target audience that doesn't even understand my life experience. So, it was really nice to hear that from her, because I just feel like if you're yourself and you do what you love and you do it for the right reason, you can succeed.
Okay, and again, I'm really going to make sure I look at that show. I had it on my agenda, but I'll move it up now. I'm a Gladys
it was
Knight
amazing.
Fan.
Yeah, it was amazing. And Monica performed and was amazing as well. Jasmine Sullivan, she splayed that entire stage. It was so great. And then to know I'm going to be in the building on the same stage with these women, it's just amazing. It's very inspiring.
And that's the great part about the possibilities of this industry. You can see someone on TV or hear their music on the radio. And depending on what happens in your life and how hard you work, and it's really, a lot of it really is based on how hard you work. But you still are, you have the opportunity to be in the same place, on the same stage as people that have put in as much or if not more work than you have. And these, quote, famous people, that's the beauty of music and acting, even to me. If you work hard enough, you have the possibility to interact with these people on some level. And
Exactly.
you've mentioned Jasmine Sullivan a couple of times today.
Yeah, I love Jasmine.
and that may even just, maybe I don't even need to ask this question, but if you could work with any artist, any other artist, and that's male or female for that matter, who would it be, and why would you want to work with them?
Now, when you ask me that question, it sounds crazy, but I really want to work with Chris Brown. I just, I don't agree with a lot of the things he does in his personal life, but as far as talent, I love his voice. I love his runs. I like how he can be very versatile. He can be very romantic in one song. He can, be upset in another song, talk about nonsense in another, have perfect grammar in another. I would love to work with him one day.
And that never ceases to amaze me when I ask that question. I'm thinking, okay, she's going to say Jasmine Sullivan, and she's going to expound on that, and it's why she is. But again, it doesn't shock me. It just gives me another look into that spiciness that is So Free. Because I can see that attitudinal So Free when it comes to Chris Brown, and not necessarily liking how he did this or that, or how he said this or that. But hey, this song right here, he fits this song. So.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't have to like what you do when you're, at home. But if I think you're an amazing artist, I will want to work with you.
And see, that's something that all artists need to learn. There is an emotional factor when it comes to being an artist, and you have emotional reactions to how people do things or what they do. And there are lines. I'm sure you have lines that if they do X, Y, Z, there are some lines that you would never work with X because they crossed over that line. And, it's just like in the music industry, that is something where in rap, I run into it a lot. I work with a MC. Rappers have these egos, I put it that way, where they will not work with different artists, and they may not like somebody, and then there's the beef aspect, blah blah blah. But, and that gets on my nerves too. But as an artist, being able to look at a person and say, hey, I enjoy what that person does, even though I may not agree with everything he stands for, he still hasn't crossed the line to where I will not work with him. Which is
exactly,
because that's business to me, and so as I look at that, I mentioned to you briefly that I may bring this up since you are from the great state of North Carolina, the Tar Heel state, the state that almost got to the NCAA men's basketball promised land. Y'all almost got there. The home of Michael Jordan, and y'all went left as a state, and you had you had Charlotte trying to do the right thing, and then you have your state legislator and governor, just as I used to say in my day, going buck wild and jeopardizing business opportunities. And what's your opinion on the state of LGBT rights and how your state is treating those in that community? Just give me just your opinion as you see it.
Okay. Well, I will say, what passed in North Carolina, it was stupid to me because it wasn't only about bathrooms. It was about making sure that people can't raise minimum wage and some other things that I don't think they have anything to do with the bathroom issue. I wonder which issue that was in the bill that they cared about more, because I do know that, the government is good for sticking a whole bunch of things in a bill and, people don't even read it, which is exactly what Bill Clinton said. He didn't read the entire bill that he passed, which enabled, people to the three-strike law. Mm-hmm. And he said years later, they put a lot of things in these bills and you don't always read all through them. And I don't know if that was an issue. I feel like they weren't trying to target the community. I think there were some other things they were trying to do, and it ended up backfiring on them. I think it's a very discriminatory law now. I have seen so many people that I respect take this as an opportunity to express their prejudice against the LGBT community, and it's offensive. And in my younger days, I would challenge every single person that had a different opinion from me, but it is unfortunate. A lot of businesses are pulling out of North Carolina. A lot of companies are telling their employees that they cannot fly here. And, it just makes me wonder what was the real point of doing all this, because I don't really know if that was what they meant to do. And they're very sneaky, so it's just unfortunate. And, now people are arguing with each other. And I read something in Siler City recently that a police officer actually followed someone to the state line. I don't know how far they were from the state line, but followed them out of North Carolina because they used a single occupancy bathroom. She happened to be a transgender female. And I feel like it just opens the door for, things like that. That's almost bullying. That's scary. And, now my transgender friends that I do have, they feel like they already had to watch their back as it is, but now it's almost like, well, here, I'm allowed to do this now because I think this law means this thing, and it's just awful. I'm seeing a lot of people wanting to move out of North Carolina, and
yeah, and that's the sad thing. I live in what is called, quote, the great state of Texas, and there is a lot of ignorance in the state of Texas. There are a lot of things that happen here that I do not agree with. And right. and there are other states, i.e. Mississippi and Alabama, Georgia tried to do the same thing. But you have people that, you mentioned something that a lot of people don't realize. That bill was put together, and the people that wanted to have that LGBT component, they did this on purpose. They knew what they were doing.
Exactly. They get people so fired up about sensitive subjects like, the LGBT community, that we're not even paying attention to how this is going to impact everybody else. They like to separate themselves from issues, and they don't realize that they're also going to be affected by this. So I'm just interested to see how it's going to affect, the corporate world and things of that nature. It's almost time now for people to encourage themselves to be their own boss, because you can't discriminate against yourself.
Well, you can by not working too hard, but that's not
you're
going
right.
to be
You're right.
that's
You're
not
right.
going to be anything that you do. And,
right.
and I like the way that you, the way that you're working your business, you have basically an in-house, it sounds like, opportunity, because your husband produces music and tracks for you. You're able to sit there and put them together without having to pay for studio time initially, just to come up with some of this. And so if you can go back there, and if you could change one thing about your career so far, what would that change be, and why would you change that?
These questions are always kind of funny to me, only because I believe in the butterfly effect. I believe one change could alter my entire destiny. So I actually wouldn't change anything. I think maybe I could have used a little more tact sometimes with certain people, but even then, I just feel like later, I may have said hurtful things to people, but years later, they always come to me and say, you were right. You was really, bitchy how you said it, but you were right. And so it's just, I don't know if I would want to change it or anything. I love the space that I'm in now, and it's because of everything that I went through, before today. So.
I like that as an answer, because, we were talking about what your state has done, and they have something where if you follow the money, which I say all the time, they're going to get to a point to where there's going to be a financial issue that may cause them to change their mind. But
Right.
if you go forward in your life, or in business for that matter, or if you govern and you go forward as you do those things and you try to make the best decision possible and you try to explain it the best way possible to encourage people to understand your point. Yes, there are times when K. Rose or So Free may not say it exactly particularly correctly, but,
Right.
you know, I can tell you don't and I don't. I'm not going to pull it back because I've thought about my response to you. Now, I may say it in a broken down way, but I'm always going to say what I feel, and it sounds like that you're going to do the same thing.
Exactly.
And that's what makes it great being, as you mentioned, an entrepreneur. You know, I am the person that runs the Get Global Network and the stations and all the things that happen. I have people that help me, and you all know who you are, and you all know I appreciate you. But it's something where if I don't get up and if I don't make sure that at the day I'm supposed to record So Free's interview, if I don't do it, it's on me. It's not on So Free.
Mm-hmm.
It is on me. So as we're winding the interview down, I ask this because I like to see where the artist head is and what they're thinking and what they're listening to. Back in the day, people had CD players and used the actual CD players. That's not as much prominent right now. A lot of times we plug in the USB drive into the car. And I can date some of my listeners. There are some people out there that remember putting in the cassette or the 8-track. So there are still some people that listen to K. Rose like, yeah, you know, you used to have that 8-track case tape. But if we basically jumped in So Free's car right now, or if we listened to your phone and if we walked up to you and you were just bobbing your head and you were listening to some music, what would you be listening to? Who's that hot artist other than So Free that you listen to now?
I'm glad you said other than me, because that's usually what I'm listening to.
That's what I'm talking about.
and not just because, you know, I love my music. I do love my music, but I record so much, and you know, every time I record something, I'll put it on a CD and I'll drive around while I'm running my errands and say, okay, I want to change that, I want to add that. But outside of myself, I like to listen to 90s R&B. I really love to listen to classical music, so you're more than likely pull up next to me at the stoplight and I'll have some Rachmaninoff on or something like that.
Whoa.
Yeah, I love classical music so much.
And that's a first for those that listen to the Wave interviews. And it's not a bad first. This is, to me, I've heard people say country a little bit. I've heard.
I love country and I love singing country music.
Yeah, but classic, people don't understand the value, because I feel I don't necessarily understand the music itself all the time, but I understand the value of classical music. I've been to, with my wife, they have the opportunity with my son and my wife to go to operas where they telecast them in the giant stadium here, owned by the Dallas Cowboys. They'll do a simulcast. Can't talk. And they will have it on the big screen there. And so I've been to a couple of operas, and I can actually see myself going to an opera to actually get that experience. I think it's great that classical music is part of your existence. Do you play classical music, and does your little person like classical music, or has she listened to it?
Well, I have two little persons. I have a 9-year-old and a 2-year-old. They're both girls. And yes, both of my children, when they were younger, I would keep, my 2-year-old, we still do it with her. When they go to sleep, I would put classical music on. Before I can't say well seasoned as a parent. I've been a parent for 10 years. But, when I first started out, I liked to read, and I read that children who listen to classical music, they're I don't want to say they're smarter, but
go ahead and say it. Say it. I would have said it. Go ahead and say it.
Yeah, they're smarter and they're more interested in learning, and I just feel like that's how both of my daughters are. They love to learn, they love to read, And yeah, they like it. Now my daughter, she'll listen. My oldest daughter will listen to it, when she goes to sleep, but she doesn't like to listen to it when we're in the car like I do. I can put classical on it and drive 2-3 hours, and I think it's amazing. I just love how you can get emotion out of music without words. And
but that's an appreciation of music, and I hate people that will say or act like, well, you listening to hip hop, you too old to be listening to it. Well, I'm not too old. Hip hop was born when I was a younger person, and so it's the same thing listening to any other music. If I'm going down the street and blasting some Charlie Pride, don't look crossways at me because I'm a black man.
Right. It's funny too, because I didn't start listening to hip hop I think I was like 8 or 9, but it was because of my dad. And my dad's from Ecuador, but well, there's no but my dad, he's not a black man. So when he would be out and he would be blasting things like Ice Cube and Coolio, DMX and stuff, he would always get looks. But my love of music really comes from my dad. He's always loved R&B, hip hop. He used to listen to Ice Cube. Today Was a Good Day. When I tell you, he would listen to that and drive us to school in the morning. And he also introduced me to Rachmaninoff's music and Beethoven and stuff. So I get a lot of that from my dad. He loves music. He can't sing worth a damn, but you put on some Eminem and he will rap to it. And I love my dad for that.
Hey, well, you don't have to be able to sing to hit some bars from Eminem or from Ice Cube or from Ice-T for that matter. You don't have to carry a note, okay?
Right. But my dad, he would sing. Even though he can't sing, he would sing loud and off key. And my brother and I would just crack up laughing, even though we wanted him to shut up. But he would do it anyway. Matter of fact, everybody from my dad's family, none of them can sing, but they love to sing all the time.
Well, and Dad, as you listen to this podcast or the show, we loving you.
He knows he can't sing. I love you, though, Daddy.
Exactly. I mean, and she hadn't said anything she hadn't told you, I'm sure. And so we just enjoy it because, again, you have a daughter who it's one of the special ones. She's able to write and she is able to sing, and you get to enjoy her. As everyone that has been listening to this interview has and will continue to. And for those that just listened to the podcast and you just got introduced to So Free Wisdom, tell them again how to connect with you on social media. And then as we end the show, I want you to also introduce, again, your single so that everyone knows what that is. Okay?
Okay, you guys can find me at sofree-wisdom.com. I'm on Facebook as So Free Wisdom. My fan page on Facebook is So Free Wisdom. At So Free Wisdom on Twitter and Instagram. If you Google So Free Wisdom, you can always find me anywhere. And this is my single again, the only one produced by my husband, Tracker Rich.
Can you tell me I'm the only one? Tell me I'm the only one.
You have been listening to the Get Global Network podcast of The Wave Live, featuring an interview with the artist So Free Wisdom. You can hear The Wave live Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Pacific Time on Yes Sir FM, one of the original member stations of the Get Global Network. You can hear Yes Sir FM on the go by installing any of the Get Global Network apps, like Grassroots Salute or So Metro Magazine for your cell phone. The apps are available for download on both Google Play and the iTunes app stores. Take the time to subscribe to our podcast via iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, or the Spreaker podcast networks.